What is going on, everybody? My name is Ryan. I'm joined with Brandon once again, and today we're going to be covering another Stim Junkie pre-workout. This is a pretty famous one, and it is Jack3d. So, Jack3d has undergone numerous reformulations over the years, but really I think what everyone remembers is the 2009 to 2013 days when it was the cutting-edge DMAA pre-workout that everyone raved about. And it's one of those pre-workouts that everyone kind of goes back to. You know, when like a new one comes out, they always say, oh, you know, if it's half as good as the original Jack3d was, or, you know, the original Jack3d gave me the best workouts of my life. Unfortunately, by the time Brandon and I started taking pre-workout, those days were long gone. But this reformulated version was kind of appealing to us because the label is actually pretty similar to the original Jack3d. So we're going to go through that in a minute here. We're going to tell you all about it. We're going to tell you about the taste like we always do. We're going to explain everything that's on the label, tell you our personal experiences, having used this one quite a few times, and then we're going to help you decide whether it's for you or not. So over the years, there have been a lot of Jack3d clones out there. I think most of them were like a marketing hype kind of thing because none of them ever really took off, but they were advertised as being like the same as the original Jack3d, but none of them really were. I think Jacked Up is one of them, and I think Old Jack is another one, but the formulas were nothing close to the original one. This current one came out in late 2019, and the label actually looks very, very similar to the original one. It looks like a freaking medicine tube. There's like, I mean, this looks very different from any of the pre-workouts that we've seen, but this one is being manufactured by High Tech Pharmaceuticals, and they're a very reputable company. We've talked about them before. They make a lot of Stim Junkie pre-workouts out on the market, and they have a lot of sub-brands that they manufacture for, so this is definitely from a reputable brand. It's not somebody making Jack3d in their basement and slapping the old label on it. So the part that we all care about least, the taste. So I have the grape flavor here. Brandon has the Rocket Pop. We've both tried each of them, and I have to say the taste is really impressive. I really like the taste. I mean, what do you got with the Rocket Pop?
Definitely accurate as far as the Rocket Pop, Bomb Pop. You're seeing that a lot more these days, and this honestly hits the nail on the head, like dead on, guys. This is for what this pre-workout is, what you're getting. They put a pretty damn good flavor on it, Ryan.
Yeah. The Rocket Pop is one of my favorites. I mean, like, I would drink that with dinner if I could. The grape is good as well. It's a good grape. Yeah. I don't really have much else to say. I mean, both of the flavors are solid.
I was very surprised.
Yeah, which is not something you usually see in Stim Junkie pre-workouts, but we like to see it. So, I can't speak for the other flavors. I think they have like a pineapple, dragon fruit, and like a watermelon or something like that. But if they're half as good as these ones, then I don't think you'll have a problem at all. All right, people, now for the interesting part, the part that we all care about, the label. So, as always, I'm going to put it up on screen so you can see what I'm reading. And we're going to start off right here. We have the serving size as 1 to 3 scoops. This is one of the reasons that I actually kind of like this pre-workout and why it's been one of my favorites this year, because you can really control the dosing. And you don't really see the whole 1 to 3 scoops thing on any other pre-workout ever. And the original Jack3d was the same way. It was 1 to 3 scoops, and I don't know. I kind of like that, but we're going to touch on that in the experience part. Anyways, you either get 15 to 45 servings. If you were to use 1 scoop, you'd get 45, or 3 scoops, you'd get 15. My personal sweet spot was somewhere in the middle, but we'll get to that later. So anyways, we have everyone's favorite, a proprietary blend. We can kind of guess how much of these ingredients are in there because they do disclose a couple of things. So anyways, starting off, we have arginine. So that's a pump ingredient, and I think it's really the only pump ingredient that's in here. It's more of an old school pump ingredient. It kind of got replaced by citrulline, but that's what I said. This formula is really, really similar to the original Jack3d, and I think arginine was the only pump ingredient in that formula. Next up, we have creatine monohydrate. Again, we don't know how much, and you know, I've talked about this before, but putting creatine monohydrate in pre-workouts never made a ton of sense to me, because most people who are taking creatine are going to do it with a dedicated creatine supplement. So sprinkling 2 grams of creatine in here, I mean, it can't be that much, because I mean, the scoop is only 5 grams, so you're definitely not getting your full dose of creatine for the day. I don't know. I just don't know why it's in there. It's not gonna hurt,
no.
But that it is what it is.
One of those things.
Next up, we have beta-alanine, everyone's favorite, or some people's least favorite. That is the ingredient that is responsible for the tingling sensation that you'll get when you're taking most pre-workouts, and it's also going to help with endurance and lactic acid buildup. Next up, we have caffeine. So this is one of the ingredients that they are disclosing the amount. We have 135 milligrams at 1 scoop and 405 milligrams at 3 scoops. So 2 scoops would put you at around 270 milligrams. Yeah. So, that's one of the things that they disclosed. Then we have 2-amino isoheptane. If you don't know what that is, it's DMHA. DMHA is a powerful central nervous stimulant. It's deemed the successor to DMAA. It's kind of like the little brother, and it provides similar effects. It's going to help with oxygen uptake, and it's going to help with, really getting you in the zone and giving you that nice boost of energy. So this is where the formula differs from the original. Everything up to this point and after it are pretty similar, but I guess the DMHA is kind of like a replacement to the DMAA, and I think that's why this kind of stands out amongst all the other Jack3d re-releases that have come out over the year. Next up, we have geranium extract, stem and leaves. So if we look on the front here, it says 25 milligrams geranium extract, and the tub is actually really bragging about it because it says intense training aid enhanced with geranium. What is geranium? Well, in this case, I'm not really sure because geranium is DMAA. DMAA is usually, the chemical formula is 1,3-dimethylamylamine, but according to high-tech pharmaceuticals and USP labs back in the day, there were whole lawsuits over this. Yeah. DMAA could be naturally derived from select geranium plants, and that was actually one of the reasons that it was, kind of illicit and getting into a little bit of trouble because it was being made synthetically in a lab, but they were trying to argue that you could derive it from a geranium. I'm not going to go into that. You guys can look up the lawsuits if you just search like Jack3d, DMAA, or something like that, but is it actual DMAA? I don't know, because geranium extract, like I said, the DMAA that gets derived from it is only, I think, like a certain type of Chinese geranium or something like that. You can buy geranium over the counter. It has other benefits. So they're saying that they put 25 milligrams in there. If that is DMAA, then you're getting 25 milligrams of DMAA per scoop. I personally think it's a marketing thing, but we'll get into that later in the experience. Next up, we have yohimbe extract. So this is not alpha yohimbine. This is not the one that's going to cause negative side effects for some people. You're not going to get the sweating or the drooling or anything like that. It's just an ingredient that's going to help with thermogenesis. Then we have an interesting one. We have Schisandra chinesis berry extract. Anyways, I don't know if I said that right or not. This is an older ingredient that, like I said, was in the original Jack3d, and it's designed at stress relief. And I'm not really sure why it's in this formula. I don't really know how it fits in, but it's there. It may help you a little bit with stress relief. I don't think that's why people take pre-workouts these days. I know I sure don't. But it's interesting to see in there. Yeah. And that about rounds out our label, so now we're going to move into the experience. All right, so now for the part that we all care about, the experience. So this is going to kind of be broken down into 3 sections because this has 3 advertised doses, I suppose you could say. So we'll start from the bottom and work our way up. 1 scoop. What is 1 scoop going to do for you on this? It's going to give you a little kick in the ass energy-wise. You're not getting a ton of caffeine. You're getting 135 milligrams. You will get that DMHA. And I have to say, I don't know how much DMHA is in here because, at least we know that in 1 scoop, it's between 25 milligrams and 135 milligrams. And the reason we know that is because they disclose the amount of caffeine is 135 and they disclose the amount of geranium is 25. And in these proprietary blends, the labels, or the ingredients rather, are listed in order from greatest to least. So that would mean that the 2-amino or the DMHA is somewhere between 25 and 135. I think it's less than 100 based on what I've seen, but you definitely will feel it. And on 1 scoop, you're not going to get stimmed out. You're actually just going to have a pretty kick-ass workout. You're not going to get really bouncing off the wall energy, but I did notice that it got me really in the zone and it really actually helped the weight move a little bit better. Pumps are going to be lackluster. You will get a little bit from that arginine, but there's really not that many pump products in here. So I would say that regardless of how many scoops you're taking, you may want to stack this with a dedicated pump product if you value pumps in your workout. But anyways, yeah, 1 scoop I think is solid. And a lot of people would say like, oh, 1 scoop isn't that much, or it's, it kind of doesn't have a purpose, but I think it does. Yeah. I liked using 1 scoop because it can kind of, you're not getting like a full Stim Junkie experience, but you're going to get something like a little bit more than like an entry-level pre-workout. You know, you're only getting 135 caffeine, so maybe if you were drinking coffee or an energy drink in the morning, you can take this. It won't put you over the edge, and you will have a pretty good workout from it. Now we're going to move on to 2 scoops. This, I'm just going to give you a heads up, was my personal favorite. Yeah. And at 2 scoops, these ingredients really come together well. You do get that Stim Junkie feeling. I would say at 2 scoops and above, this is a certified Stim Junkie pre-workout. Like I said, I don't know how much DMHA you're getting exactly, but that would put you at 270 milligrams of caffeine, the DMHA. You do feel the beta-alanine tingling at 2 scoops as well. Again, we have no idea how much is in there, but like I said, this is a solid Stim Junkie pre-workout at 2 scoops. I mean, you get the beta-alanine tingling and you get that really good energy boost. Focus is there, and I think it really helps a little bit with muscle power output too. There's no ingredients for that, but I think just the heavy stims really help with that. I mean, the weight was moving good for me. How did you feel in 2 scoops?
No, definitely fall along the same line, really. 2 scoops, 270 milligrams of caffeine. Some of you Stim Junkies out there might be thinking, oh, that's still not that much. But when you take into account the other ingredients, the DMHA, the possible DMAA, you definitely get a kick. You feel like you're taking a way lot more than 270 milligrams of caffeine, guys. And the power and strength, really want to emphasize that. That was definitely there. Definitely smooth throughout the workout. Not much of a crash on this, I have to say.
No.
So it's just well rounded. 2 scoops for me too. Also, it seemed to be the sweet spot really.
So if you're gonna venture into the 3 scoop territory, I didn't really see a benefit to 3 scoops over 2. It was almost like a little bit too much for me. And it was still productive. Like on 3 scoops, I wasn't like out of my mind or anything, but I didn't really think it was. I think you might be better off with 2 scoops, honestly. 2 scoops and a pump product is really going to be your sweet spot here, because when you're getting into 3 scoops, not only are you going to start to see, I don't want to say less benefits, but like not marginally better benefits than 2 scoops.
Exactly.
But you're going to only be getting 15 servings if you're taking this at 3 scoops. And I mean, this is a rather affordable pre-workout. We're going to talk about that later, but I don't really see the need for 3 scoops with this one. I really don't. I mean, it was good. I mean, but I still felt much of the same thing. Focus, energy, not really much mood elevation, I don't think. It wasn't really an angry one, but it wasn't really like a happy one either. But I think 2 scoops is the sweet spot. I alternated between like 1 and 2 scoops on this. I found myself using this pre-workout a lot this year in varying doses. On like days where I needed like a little bit more than like an entry-level pre-workout, I would go with 1 scoop of this. And on days where I wanted to have like a Stim Junkie experience, I would go with 2. And you get 45 scoops. And I think that's really interesting because this pre-workout is priced pretty well. You can get it for around $38 shipped. I'm going to put a link in the description to the cheapest price and the cheapest place to get it with a discount code and whatnot. I mean, again, we're not sponsored, never sponsored or anything like that. But I think you're getting a really good value here because you get a versatile pre-workout for a pretty good price. I mean, you can use it as an everydayer at 1 scoop. You can use it as a Stim Junkie one at 2 scoops or 3 if you're really crazy. But it's just all around super solid in a lot of categories. I mean, you have any closing words to say about that?
Another thing, going back to the 1 to 3 scoops serving size, the varying serving size, you really don't see that a lot these days. And I was a little surprised to see that on here, but it definitely each serving definitely does have its place, especially emphasizing for both of us. 2 was definitely the sweet spot. If you want to try 3, definitely try it once, but I wouldn't recommend using that every time. Like Ryan said, you only get 15 servings out of this. Even for an affordably priced pre-workout, 15 servings is a bit ridiculous. But 1 scoop has its. You could take that every day if you wanted to. You're not going to get stimmed out. And then every so often, bump it up to 2. Very good experience. Strength was there. Power was there. Power output. And just a smooth experience. I can't emphasize that enough. Smooth.
And it's good tasting on top of that.
Yeah, that's a bonus, guys.
The only really bone to pick we have with this is pumps. That's really it.
But simple enough as taking a half scoop. But basically, you can find a pump product anywhere. Like we said, the Nova pump is our personal favorite. But really, any pump product will work with this.
Great. So guys, I don't mean to keep you here long, but one last thing that I want to touch on before we go that I think is important is the directions for use. So it says, mix 1 to 3 scoops with 6 to 12 ounces of cold water and consume 1 serving daily. These directions were actually copied right off the original Jack3d. And people used to take like 3 scoops a day and wonder why their dicks didn't work. But number one, I don't recommend you take this unless you're working out. I guess you could take 1 scoop as kind of like a nootropic type of thing. But the part that I really want to emphasize is the 30 to 60 minutes. It says on exercise days, consume daily serving 30 to 60 minutes prior to resistance training. Do not take this 60 minutes before your workout. This is a super fast hitter. I mean, there's no absorption ingredient in here, but this one hit me fast. I mean, it took 5-10 minutes at most. Yeah, no. So if you take this 60 minutes before, I think it's gonna peak before you even get to your workout. Yeah. So that's just one little thing we wanted to note there. But anyways, as always, link to Brandon's Instagram will be in the description below. Link to buy this will be in the description below at the best price we could find. And that's it for now, guys. So stay stimmed. See you later.